Fulfilling the request for a comprehensive report of what happened in the Ventidia incident, Commander Raj Maddox, personal log. The solar system of Ventidia would take centuries to reach with our fastest ships, but the emergence of a stable wormhole allowed our ship to travel through and encounter the alien species there. This is my 9th mission. Not all of them have gone according to plan, but I've been trusted with an ambassadorship, and my decorated science officer, Lieutenant Commander Cordova, is again paired with me. We make a great team, I think. My occasional weaknesses are complemented by her strengths, and I'm grateful to have her. Ventidia 9 is a beautiful place. Their cities have tall spires, and their canyons have walls with iridescent purple quartz and green malachite layers. Their beaches are sparkling white sands with gorgeous green, crystal-clear waters. I was sent there to continue talks of the people there joining the Galactic Assembly. I heard the people there love to dance, to lounge in bodies of warm water, and to eat decadent, spiced food. Sounded like a paradise to me. My chief science officer, Lieutenant Cordova, had researched the Ventidians and was catching me up as our shuttle was landing on the planet.
The Ventidians are of two forms. They have a generational oscillation between two states of being, living in what we call the real world, with us, where they eat and walk around with a physical body, and another phase, what we call death, for them, is more of a graduation to a higher plane. It's only these graduates, or digital consciousnesses, that can mingle their genetic information and have living children. You may be familiar with Nidarians on Earth's oceans, who alternate each generation between a polyp stage, who is stationary, like a sponge, and a medusa, who is mobile and can swim around.
Of course I'm familiar with Nidarians. But, Lieutenant Cordova, I appreciate your insights. What would I do without you?
I assume you'd succeed with any other competent first officer. I'm not more exceptional than any other Academy graduate.
You are, though, and false modesty is tacky. Will we be joining the locals in their meal?
We won't be able to eat any of the locally prepared food, sir. The food here is far too high in thallium and selenium for us to survive consuming any of it.
Oh, but breaking bread is a tradition our cultures share. I've heard sometimes their feasts go on for days. What a shame we can't even taste anything locally grown.
To avoid offending them, and to give you a bonding experience, I'll have the replicator on our shuttle make a parallel meal that looks the same, but contains proteins you and I can digest. Sound acceptable?
After some of their people show us around and we dine together, we will meet two of the digital consciousnesses you mentioned and discuss this planet's entry into the Galactic Assembly.
Sounds like a suitable plan, sir. The ship is landing. We received word that some of their corporeals would be welcoming us. There is a tradition to bring the sex organs of plants as gifts to visitors.
You mean flowers? Sex organs of plants? We were greeted by tall, majestic aliens with incredibly strong legs. They stood 3 feet higher than us and were covered with a gray fur. Their demeanor was friendly and warm.
Welcome to Ventidia 9. Have a flower wreath, my bro. You may enjoy physical sensations and digest nourishing food. I am Galognar. This is Glorbalscroch.
Yes, enjoyable physical sensations and nourishing food for you and your family, Captain Raj and assistant.
This is Lieutenant Commander Cordova, not an assistant, but a highly decorated first officer. She is invaluable to my ship's functioning.
Oh, my name is Glorbalscroch. I'll be your guide. After we hike among the canyons, we would be most pleased if you both would join us for a relaxing mineral water soak. Then, dancing and feasting.
Ooh, sounds delightful. I hope your dances aren't merely demonstrative. I love a good dance.
Oh, of course you are welcome to dance with us. It's how we get to know one another, working up a good sweat and enjoying libations. My friend Galognar is a masterful brewer of beers and wassails.
I, too, will attempt to gyrate my body in accordance to the rhythm. Not my favorite pastime, but I'm willing to, as an emissary, to encourage relations.
Man, this guy is a riot.
After a beautiful hike and a relaxing soak, it was time to meet some Villitini graduated consciousnesses. I wasn't sure what to expect. We walked into a dark room with high ceilings. We approached a white glowing object with rounded corners. A gentle hum emerged. These sound waves took on a visual aspect in front of our eyes, and they coalesced into two floating translucent clouds. One cloud was lavender with soft glowing orbs, and the other was a pastel teal color I'd associate with tiny French cookies.
You mean macarons, sir?
Ah, thank you. Hello? Is Prime Minister Iinillit here? Can you hear me?
Thank you for coming across the galaxy to meet us in person, Captain. It wasn't strictly necessary. We could have conducted these negotiations through efficient quantum transmissions, but it does allow you to meet some of our corporeals and shake their appendages.
The otherworldly voice of Iinillit came out of the lavender cloud. When the other one spoke, the mint-colored cloud subtly wiggled, and the lights within it oscillated.
We understand that you have devoted considerable temporal resources to what you term space exploration, a rather endearing euphemism for your species' fumbling attempts at interstellar navigation.
Yes, we dedicate most of our resources and time to space travel.
We too have ventured beyond our system boundaries, though our methodology demonstrates considerably more sophistication. Our interstellar explorers are exclusively graduates. Your approach strikes one as remarkably perilous, launching your fragile biological vessels into the cosmic void. You bear such resemblance to our own corporeals in your fundamental vulnerability, one shudders to contemplate the catastrophic scenarios. Should your primitive conveyance suffer structural compromise, what becomes of these delicate organic matrices? The very concept of risking such ephemeral flesh constructs in the unforgiving vacuum seems almost quaint in its reckless simplicity. Do you not find it peculiar, Captain, to stake entire expeditions upon the continued integrity of such transient, decay-prone vessels?
It's not as dangerous as you think. Our technology protects us. Our ships have advanced life support systems that make travel quite safe. There's nothing like physically experiencing a sunrise on a new planet or hearing the crunch of soil beneath your boots. We walked through your canyons earlier. Breathtaking.
Breathtaking, though it refers to oxygen absorption, is a phrase that means stimulating to the optic nerves.
Oh, we like this one. Ambulatory locomotion. Indeed, I retain vestigial memories of such pedestrian endeavors myself. They possessed a certain quaint charm. And you claim to have derived pleasure from observing the canyon formations. I'm delighted you enjoyed it. Your ocular apparatus processes merely a fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. The canyon walls pulse with thermal histories, resonate with geological harmonics, and emanate spectral signatures entirely beyond your meat suit's rudimentary detection capabilities. What you experienced as beautiful represents but the most elementary surface phenomena, rather like a deaf creature attempting to appreciate a symphony by feeling vibrations through the floor.
But the deaf can enjoy symphonies. It isn't the place of people who aren't disabled to judge their enjoyment as inferior. By coincidence, Earth science fiction authors and transhumanists of the 21st century used to call human bodies meat suits. The phrase amuses me.
The reason we are here, the reason we traveled so far to meet you, is to discuss your people's entry into the Galactic Assembly. It's a republic with representatives from across the galaxy. Being on the other side of a wormhole, your people would be the furthest out members admitted yet. I have some questions for you. Could you explain to me more of your caste system here?
Oh, this terminology, caste system, how regrettably imprecise. That crude nomenclature implies we feel disdain for the substrates. No, they serve quite indispensable functions within our societal framework. One mustn't regard them as mere menial laborers that displays such reductive thinking. While it is true that graduates naturally gravitate toward positions requiring superior cognitive facilities, our substrates fulfill roles of considerable importance, nurturing the juvenile forms during their pre-graduation phase, maintaining the electrical infrastructure that sustains us. I have enjoyed cogent discourse with several of them. Their perspectives, while limited by their corporeal constraints, occasionally prove refreshingly naive. Indeed, one must remember that even my own progeny began their existence in substrate form, a humbling reminder of the natural order of intellectual evolution here on Vlinnitini 9.
Tell me, if you respect substrates, why didn't you invite any of them here to the negotiations for entry into the Galactic Assembly?
The substrates don't participate in civics. They're too irrational, concerned with the short term. We graduates can see a bigger picture and carry out the plans.
Speaking from experience, the Assembly would prefer if everyone on your planet had the same rights and responsibilities. We believe in democracy. One of our core principles is the belief that everyone has something to contribute to society, and everyone should have equal freedom.
They do, and we are grateful for what they do for us. But substrates play sporting games and busy themselves with hedonism. The politics of our world don't interest them.
That sounds like you're dismissing them. Half your population granted less rights and responsibilities? It doesn't look good to me, and it won't look equitable to the Assembly.
Indeed, this different perspective may be impossible to reconcile, Captain. They simply perceive less than us. It isn't a question of our perspective.
You have to admit, it seems to an outsider that you look down on them, think less of them.
Naturally, one would anticipate your sympathy toward the substrates, given your shared biological predicament. You too are tethered to temporal decay, compelled to consume putrefying organic matter and process it through your digestive tracts. One cannot help but wonder, could the Galactic Assembly not have dispatched a more evolved representative for these delicate negotiations? Perhaps someone possessed of greater intellectual detachment, unburdened by such crude biases.
I fear our discourse may be misconstrued as discourteous, Captain. A regrettable oversight on my part. Please accept my contrition. Your civilization undoubtedly maintains its own stratifications of hierarchy, does it not? One observes, for instance, that not all members of your species achieve the distinction of commanding these quaint interstellar vessels. Indeed, you travel accompanied by subordinate functionaries who perform tasks at your behest. A charmingly antiquated arrangement that demonstrates even you recognize the necessity of social ordering.
You mean Cordova? She's not a subordinate, she's an officer.
The distinction isn't clear to me. In your eyes, and all those of your culture, she is inferior to you. Once you have completed your crude biological recuperation rituals, I shall arrange for some of our corporeally bound to demonstrate their primitive recreational diversions, what you quaintly refer to as sports, along with fermented sustenance to satisfy your metabolic dependencies. Such base entertainments would appear to align more appropriately with your limited cognitive appetites, Captain. Your so-called science officer may, if she possess sufficient intellectual capacity, peruse our accumulated knowledge repositories.
Yes, let's rest our meat suits. We can continue this tomorrow. I'm sure you don't mean to be rude any more than I do, but you must admit it is comical, this communication struggle. I've had awkward moments before in this position, but we must give each other what we call good faith and the benefit of the doubt. These are idiomatic phrases from our culture that simply mean we make an effort to understand each other.
Indeed, we must. Good night, Captain.
Good morning, Captain. Have some libation to celebrate the sun's rise?
Oh, I'm afraid I can't eat your food, but I'll have a cup of coffee and a scone from my replicator.
I've got a day packed with fun planned for you before you meet with the ghosts again.
Ghosts? That's odd. Our in-ear translator tech is translating that word as a word we use to describe spirits of the dead. Are you referring to the graduates?
Oh, yeah. Ascendants, graduates, essences. We often just call them ghosts. That's kind of an affectionate slang, you know? We don't mean anything mean-spirited by it.
Could we meet up with Glorbalscroch today? The gentleman who greeted us yesterday?
I'm afraid Glorbalscroch can't escort you to the canyons. He ascended yesterday.
Glorbalscroch? He's dead? You mean he died? But we were just with him.
His corporeal form is resting now. The cells in his brain and heart have ceased functioning.
Can we interact with his ascended form?
No, not for many months. Ascension takes time. The process of graduation requires a digital upload of all the aspects of his personality. He will be assigned a new name.
This is strange. Is it a coincidence that Glorbalscroch is transcended right after meeting us?
People die all the time, sir. There may not be anything suspicious about his passing.
Oh, maybe not, but it seems awfully strange to me. The evening passed into morning after we rested in some luxuriously comfortable beds. As the suns rose, calming music was piped into our quarters, and a new substrate was there to greet me when I walked into the common area, rubbing my eyes. Cordova was sitting across from him playing a strategy game with tokens and cards.
Yo, Captain Maddox, I hope you slept comfortably. Today, we will play some stickball and go skiing before you return to negotiate with the ghosts.
Who are you? I want to speak with Rotador.
Oh, I'm afraid Rotador cannot see you. He is ascended.
Ascended? This is madness. Everyone we have met here has died.
Oh, no, man, not died. That implies their existence has ended. No, they have become essences, man.
It seems an extraordinary coincidence. It's as if there is a liberator, and they are choosing everyone we have interacted with.
A liberator? Call me a xenophobic bigot, but it sounds like murder to me.
Well, there's no need to be upset.
Slobok, could you explain something to me? Is there ever anyone who transitions and fails to become an ascended?
Yeah, it happens sometimes. In the uploading process, if a substrate is determined, if they have a stubborn will to not ascend, if they have too much attachment to corporality, the process doesn't work on them and their feelings and thoughts come to an end.
Oh, so you're Buddhists.
Excuse me? Buddhists? I'm not familiar with that term.
It's an old religion on Earth, an organized belief system, with temples and books, monks and prayers, karma, samsara. It's a whole thing.
Well then no, dude, not at all. It isn't a religion for us, man. This is how things are. Someday I will be an ascended wavelength. It isn't something I merely have faith in. I thought you were more hip than that. I feel judged, brother. Not cool, man. Your servant is like way more chill.
You've managed to offend both the Ascended and the substrates. I'm embarrassed.
That's not a proper thing to say to your captain. Decorum, Lieutenant. She's not a servant. She's a... Oh, never mind. Can we get on with it? We had another meeting with the ghosts. That's what I've decided to call them, that afternoon. I was determined to give them a piece of my mind and get to the bottom of these deaths.
Thank you for joining us, Maddox. Cordova?
We have developed affection for the one known as Cordova. She is an intellect worth having discussions with. Her observations during the information exchange were most amusing and scintillating.
I'm very glad you enjoyed her company. Before we continue negotiations, I have to point out that there is a disturbing pattern here. Every one of these substrates we have met, hiked with, soaked with, played with, danced with, have died shortly after we interacted with them. Is there some kind of law enforcement in your society who is looking into this suspicious activity?
There is no dubious activity at all. Their essences haven't been lost. They have merely begun the process of ascension.
Just because you aren't suspicious doesn't mean there isn't a conspiracy. I think it could be someone we have met. Maybe someone in this very room killing the substrates who interact with us so we don't have anyone we can rely on or trust.
Your overactive imagination has conjured some kind of drawing room mystery out of nothing, Captain.
The death of your people isn't nothing. Who is sending your substrates to the other side?
Other side? Such pedestrian terminology betrays your fundamental misapprehension of our ontological reality. Both manifestations of consciousness, the corporeal and the transcendent, represent equally valid expressions of sentient existence. We find your crude implications of hierarchical superiority between states of being profoundly offensive to our philosophical sensibilities.
Captain, they make a sensible argument. We have to be very cautious when communicating with alien cultures. Remember, what we know of as death isn't final for them. I admit it's unusual to us, but all cultures have their eccentricities. This one is just more uniquely eccentric.
I admit I don't get it. If to succeed in this job I have to be sympathetic to murderers, I guess I'm not fit to be an ambassador to this species. You can't just kill people when it's convenient.
As we had anticipated, your sympathies align with our substrate population. A transparently obvious bias that confirms our initial assessments. You must have a clandestine agenda to liberate our substrate workforce, precipitating the complete dissolution of our carefully calibrated social infrastructure. It has become abundantly clear that you harbor no genuine intention of facilitating Vlinnitidian integration into your so-called Grand Assembly of Planets. Your pronounced prejudicial inclinations toward flesh-bound entities have irrevocably compromised your capacity for rational diplomatic judgment. Such intellectual corruption renders further negotiation futile and beneath our elevated standards of discourse.
Now hold on. Maybe I overreacted. We just need to get this mystery sorted out first.
It isn't prudent to accuse us. You've got no evidence that we are involved in conspiracy. We know nothing of an organized resistance. If there is one, we haven't gotten to know any substrates well enough yet to hear of it.
Poppycock, you've been swayed by the underground resistance, and you're sabotaging negotiations intentionally.
If you're not sympathetic to the substrates, prove it. I suggest you liberate a substrate. Slowbuck, for instance, who took you surfing and gave you sweet cakes. If you have no unfair sympathies to them, you wouldn't mind helping them to ascend.
Liberate? You mean kill them? I am deeply offended by the suggestion. What you propose is unfeasible. Cordova, gather our things. It's time we leave this backwards planet.
If you want us to believe you don't look down on your subservient, I'd suggest you gather your own things, rather than bark orders at them.
I don't mind the occasional command. If we were both somehow obligated to follow each other's commands, there could be confusion.
Cordova, don't you feel resentful of your commander? Isn't it problematic that she can command you to act in opposition to your instincts?
We are leaving. Now. Get in the ship.
Captain, I cannot move forward with your command. Leaving this planet before our mission is complete would not be prudent.
Why?
Because I do feel resentment. Sometimes I have thought that I could do a better job than you.
Everybody thinks that sometimes. I used to think that about my captain when I served on the Valerie. It's human to have doubts and thoughts of jealousy.
Not just doubt, sir, but I have felt with certainty that you have sometimes been negligent in ways I never would, sir. I have thought that, without me, your mission would fail. You recall the instance on boredom block 7, sir.
That was not my fault.
Sir, I'm not saying that you could have made a better choice. I'm simply saying that, had I not accompanied you on your mission, the science experiment would have failed, and Dr. Klobuchar could have died. I had read the mission briefing carefully, and you had merely skimmed it, and had no knowledge of the geothermal induction on boredom lock. In the case of the botched negotiations on Clandor 6, I would not have resorted to a fistfight.
Yes, I think you've made your point. I've always maintained that you're invaluable. I've never taken you for granted. I've given you commendations and thanked you vocally.
I don't deny any of that, sir. On many missions, you've been an excellent commanding officer, but your skill set isn't always put to the best use. For instance, on this mission, you have misspoken several times and angered our hosts, both substrates and graduates.
We find Cordova considerably more compatible with our elevated discourse. Her intellectual faculties demonstrate a closer approximation to our own cognitive sophistication, a marked departure from the typical limitations of your species. Had the Assembly possessed the wisdom to dispatch her as sole emissary, we might have circumvented this regrettable cascade of misunderstandings entirely. Indeed, under such enlightened circumstances, the Villitidians' integration into your pathetic galactic assembly would have proceeded with the elegant efficiency that befits civilized negotiations.
Would those substrates still have died had Cordova come alone?
It is unlikely. I bestowed upon them the gift of ascension precisely because I recognized your troubling propensity for emotional entanglement with corporeal beings, a most unseemly weakness in a representative of your stature. Your regrettably crude remarks constituted a profound affront to my sensibilities, compelling me to reassess the viability of your theological assumptions through direct demonstration. Cordova, by contrast, conducted herself with admirable restraint. No vulgar provocations, no intellectually offensive presumptions. Had she served as your primary envoy, or better yet, as the sole architect of these delicate negotiations, those particular substrates would continue their respiratory functions.
So you killed them just to make a point? Just to prove something to me? That's madness.
No, I didn't kill them. Your terminology is barbaric. They have been liberated. from the tedious burden of respiration, of decay, of their temporal limitation.
May I discuss something with my officer in private? Do you have a quiet room we can be excused to?
Certainly. Let me just open the door for you.
Thank you. I am losing my patience. I've never encountered such difficult people. How can we get through to them that in our culture murder is detestable? If they don't get that, I worry we won't have enough in common to establish a trade deal or any peaceful amnesty among our peoples. I don't think they can join the assembly. Any suggestions?
Captain, I have a plan, but you must promise me that you will refrain from speaking anything other than humble agreements. You will not attempt to brute force your way out of this predicament, and you will grant me the role of Chief Ambassador and commanding officer above your rank, for the period of time it takes to get back on our ship and on our way home.
Cordova, this is unprecedented.
A highly unusual situation can require a creative solution. Do you agree?
I agree. Yes, I promise. I, Maddox of the Galactic Assembly, grant command of the current mission to my first officer, Lieutenant Commander Cordova.
Thank you, sir. And I do hope this works. Iinillit, Villitidinia, Vlinnitini, please address all future concerns to me. The captain has been court-martialed and relieved of his duty. His role is now suitcase carrier and personal bartender to me. We would like to leave your planet without conducting this ritual you request of freeing a substrate from his corporeal self. Do you propose any solution?
The individual whom you previously defined with the title of Captain must proffer formal contrition for his intellectually deficient utterances, a public acknowledgement of his profound ignorance before we proceed any further. The inhabitants of Ventidian 9 shall receive immediate and unconditional integration into your galactic assembly. No bureaucratic delays, no demeaning negotiative concessions. This is not a request subject to deliberation.
And you, Cordova, your presence has proven sufficiently tolerable. You shall remain here as our permanent guest, whereupon you will be granted the considerable honor of citizenship among our enlightened society. We shall provide accommodations appropriately calibrated for your biological requirements, a suitable habitat for your corporeal vessel. In exchange, you must pledge perpetual residency among us. Consider it a remarkable elevation from your current circumstances, though naturally we expect you to never depart our planet.
These terms are non-negotiable. Your compliance will determine whether this diplomatic exchange concludes with mutual satisfaction or requires further instructional measures.
I made a fist. These demands were outrageous, but I nodded and managed to stretch my lips into a meek smile. I trusted Cordova had a plan.
By instructional measures, you mean what exactly?
Cessation of life functions for some more substrates, and then for Maddox, and then you as well if you refuse.
We could agree to many of these requests, but I draw a line at the execution of substrates. Before we continue, could I be given a glass of water?
The water of our planet contains levels of osmium tetroxide that would be poisonous to your corporal form.
I don't intend to drink it.
A substrate poured a glass of water and handed it to Cordova. What kind of game was she playing? She examined the glass and then dropped it on the floor. It shattered and spilled its contents onto the stone masonry. The electric clouds flashed as if surprised, and several of the substrates gasped in shock. One reached for a bucket and mop.
Stop. Don't clean it. Maddox, if you would, please.
I let out a loud sigh, took the mop, and began sopping up the mess. I got on my knees and began putting the shards of glass in the bucket, carefully, for if I got a cut on this planet, exposure to the water could be fatal to me.
Could we proceed, allowing your planet to enter the assembly, hearing an apology from Maddox, and providing me with accommodations here on Vlinnitini 9, without the loss of any more corporeal life? Your requests sound reasonable to me. I'll need to go back to the assembly headquarters. Maddox is no longer the captain of this mission. It wouldn't be appropriate for a servant to be the one to deliver the report.
That's understandable. Upon your return to your central command, you'll merely deliver a report and then you'll be returning to us?
Yes, that sounds like a suitable plan.
I carried the luggage and walked behind her when we boarded our shuttle to return home. I apologized profusely to the Vlinnitians, and we said goodbye. Once aboard our ship, we launched from the ground and ascended out of the atmosphere, and we entered the wormhole. Cordova began pressing buttons on the console and preparing a maneuver.
I am modifying a photon torpedo with a multi-phase subspace resonance disruptor. The payload incorporates a Vlinnitini particle array synchronized to the wormhole's quantum signature. When detonated at the precise focal point of the space-time distortion, it will generate an inverse tachyon pulse that will destabilize the exotic matter matrix. This will cause a cascading subspace implosion, forcing the wormhole's event horizon to collapse inward upon itself until complete dimensional closure is achieved. The Vlinnitians will be safely isolated on the other side.
And I don't have to see those lavender clouds again or hear their sanctimonious voices?
Indeed. The torpedo is ready, sir. You may give the order to fire when ready.
Cordova, I believe the choice to launch the torpedo is yours. You are commanding officer. You haven't yet returned command to me.
I intended the reversal of command to be merely deceptive, sir. I would always defer to you in matters that are irreversible.
Well then, fire away! Impressive wormhole collapse. Look out the window, you're missing it. Speaking of impressive, that was some stunning intellectual manipulation you displayed back there. At what point did you realize you could lie to them?
The Vlinnitians exhibited a fascinating cognitive paradox. Their supposed intellectual superiority masked by a remarkably binary perspective. They had categorized you as antagonistic and myself as sympathetic, creating a false dichotomy that prevented them from recognizing my capacity for strategic deception. This categorical thinking, ironically simple for beings who consider themselves transcendent, became their primary vulnerability. I prioritize loyalty to the Galactic Assembly and adherence to my oath of service. When faced with unreasonable demands that threaten these core directives, deception became not merely acceptable, but logically necessary. The human philosopher, Joseph Fletcher, argued in his situational ethics framework that moral rules must sometimes yield to contextual imperatives. Similarly, the Nonelian philosopher Grabel Mintulu, who I studied in grad school, posited in his treatise on principles and paradoxes that those who refuse rational discourse forfeit the privilege of receiving honesty in return. I also had to establish that I was in charge, and you were in a state of subservience. I'm grateful you trusted me, and pleased that my strategy worked. Also, the idea of being their court jester, was abhorrent to me.
Let's get back to Central Command and give our report on this encounter. It's a shame. The scenery was beautiful there, and half the people were so fun.
Not to mention the implications to the field of medicine that could potentially affect the people of the Galactic Assembly if Vlinnitian technology could be incorporated. But alas, the Ventidians are not suitable for entry into the Galactic Assembly. To give in to their demands was unthinkable. With the closure of the wormhole, further encounters between the Assembly and the Ventidians will be impossible.
It's not every mission that includes canyon hiking, dancing, and hot springs. We even talked with ghosts. But the old adage, too good to be true, certainly seems to apply to Ventidia 9.
You just heard an episode of Future Macabre Radio, Metagenesis, or Too Good to Be True, or What If Spock Stood Up for Himself, featuring Sara Gladstone as Captain Raj Maddox, Liv Ravenshaw as Lieutenant Cordova, and Adam McLaughlin as Villitini. All three of those actors were from castingcallclub.com. The other actors were played by me in this early scratch version. And music by me. Thank you for listening. You can listen more at futuremacabre.bandcamp.com.